Welcome back to the channel. Today's guest is the owner of Grindle Garage and a competitor in the U.S. drift circuit this season.
Drip and drift.
Please welcome Andrew, aka Drewski Drifts. What's going on, man?
Good to be here.
Good
Thank you for
to
having me.
Good for you coming, man. Good for you. You hit me up. I was like, "Yo, I want to do it." I'm like, "Bet, let's go."
I appreciate you leveling your chair for me as well.
Oh, yeah.
You're like 2 feet taller than me, so it's
True.
nice to be.
It's honestly, it was mainly because of the table, but it's
True.
We'll say it's because of you. We'll say it's because of you. Yeah. So you just got back from a trip to Little Talladega, aka the Drift Mansion. So why were you there? What happened? Tell me about that.
So I kind of got a last-minute invite. I knew that Kansai and Grip Royal were hosting like essentially a private day at Little Talladega.
Okay.
But I didn't like apply for it because I had just had so many other things going on. But Christian Catrone invited me last minute because his other friend who was going to go couldn't make it. So I was like, all right, I can try and make it work. I had a bunch of stuff to do to the car, so I ended up having to cram a whole bunch of stuff in 1 week, testing it, missing out in Atlanta. I was supposed to go to Atlanta, the Drift
4th of
HQ.
July.
Yeah, the 4th of July event.
Yeah.
Ended up missing that because on my test day, I had fixed my power steering rack, and it did not fix my power steering rack. So
Nice.
I had to find a new one, get it really fast, install it for the second time, which on a Corvette is not fun. You have to drop the whole front end essentially and support the motor and slide the rack in and out.
Fun.
So yeah, so we went to that event. We missed the 4th of July event, and then Christian Catrone had our cars essentially driven up there for us, and we flew out to Missouri.
Nice.
And made the trip without having the hassle of the trip.
That sounds like it'd be
It was
more
nice,
enjoyable.
yeah. Because I was going to do the thing where I was going to hit up 4th of July and then drive to Missouri straight from there, not realizing how far of a drive Missouri actually is from Atlanta.
Yeah.
And that's what Ryan Acevedo was going to do as well.
Okay.
But then their tow truck, or not their tow truck, but their rig broke down. Their transmission blew. So they didn't make it.
Dang.
So he was supposed to be at the event, and he wasn't there either. But it was a really good time. The mansion is even cooler than you see on social media.
Yeah.
And, it's all over the place. People see videos of it, pictures of it, but this was the first real event since they've expanded the pavement.
Right. They redid the front area.
They redid the front. They expanded like the back behind the house.
Okay.
They made everything wider. They didn't
Nice.
just add more sections. They made
Sure.
everything wider. So fresh asphalt. New event. Grip Royal. That's the two owners of Grip Royal were there. So, and they're really cool guys.
It was an invitational, or anybody could sign up and then they
Both.
chose.
It was both. You could apply, but you had to be accepted.
Right.
And me being sponsored by both Grip Royal and Kansai, once Christian was invited me, said, hey, I have an extra seat. Do you want to go?
Yeah.
You have to apply here. And I was like, well, perfect. I'm sponsored by both of
Right.
them anyways.
That's awesome.
So I, within an hour, they were like, yeah, you're good.
Word. So was it a competition? You guys
No, it was a
compete?
fun day.
Fun day.
It was a fun day.
Fun day.
But
And everyone had some fun?
Everyone had some fun. It was a really fun
Anything
weekend.
too crazy that happened? I feel like you get a bunch of guys like that.
Yeah, I
pushing
wish
each
I had
other.
gotten more video of it, but there were probably 3 cars, I think, that went off through the barriers
Yeah.
on the bank. And you can't see in the videos and stuff, but those banks are it's like a bank.
Yeah.
It's not as steep as OSW, but
Yeah.
you go over there, it drops off.
Yeah.
So there was one guy in a Z that went off behind the house, and it probably took an hour to get him out of the sticks over there.
man.
And his car was, I think he spent the rest of the day fixing it, but he got it up and running again. And then there was a really cool Corvette that went off the other side, I think it was a Z06 LS7, and his car was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Just went right down the hill and then drove through the grass, and he
Yeah.
was fine.
I'm so surprised. When I go off track and I look under, make sure, do a quick eyeball check, everything's good, I send it again.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised how many things don't happen when you go off track as
Right.
opposed to what I feel like should happen. But
Yeah, there's definitely been a few times where I've scraped my frame
Yeah,
at OSW
exactly.
going off, and that it drops down
Yep.
because everyone's digging it out with their tires, and I'm feel that, just feel it straight in your butt because
Right.
you hit right on the frame of the car, and it's oh, something probably isn't right anymore under there. Need an alignment at least.
yeah, something. Yeah, so you got your Corvette's a Z06 as well?
No, actually, my Corvette's a base, but it's got the 945 garage wide body on it.
I'm sorry, a C6.
C6. Yep.
Right, it's a
Corvette
C6.
C6. Yep.
True.
So 2005 to 2013 is a C6.
How long have you had that?
like 2 years, something like that. I bought it I got a good deal actually. It was up in Georgia, listed for like 16.5 or something like that, and it was like a rebuilt title, and it had some front end damage that had already been repaired. So went up there, it came with like 6 wheels, already had a inline hydro.
Oh, nice.
I had BCs on it, which if you don't know, the Corvette has like leaf springs. So having true coils already on it was a significant amount of work that I didn't have to do anymore.
That's awesome.
But now I'm on silvers, which are a little heavier duty than the older BCs that were on there. And then I got rid of that inline hydro. I've got some FDF stuff on there, FDF full kit, and I just did some power mods recently and re-geared it. So now it's like a 3rd gear car instead of a 2nd gear car. So.
Nice. Was that your first drift car?
No, my first drift car was the R32 Skyline.
Okay. And you still have that?
I still have that.
Okay.
It's not the same car as it was when I first got it. When I first bought it, that was almost 7 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I've been drifting for probably 6 years, realistically, with, getting into it on the street, doing the things you shouldn't do. Going to the track started with right when Tommy was brand new at OSW, and I just had a stock R32 Skyline. When I bought it, I bought that car for $13,000. So
that's not bad.
It's not bad. Well, it was the going rate back then, yeah.
Okay.
But now now they're selling for 20 plus for, it's a base GTST. It's got an RB20 in it. It's nothing crazy. A lot of people think that car is a GTR. It's not. It's just a R32 GTST. But that RB20 screams, man. That motor, I haven't cracked that block open or anything. Like, it's stock internals.
From how it came?
Yep. It's now everything bolt-on is done to it. A fat turbo, intake manifold, exhaust manifold.
Yeah.
Made it all pretty, did a wide body to it, completely gutted all the suspension. So I've got an S13 rear subframe now, Wisefab front end. I don't have it caged or anything, but I did pretty much gut the interior. And
how did you end up getting that?
So it was in Kissimmee. I was living in Kissimmee at the time.
Okay.
And I just always loved Skylines and kind of wanted to get into like a JDM car because I just had a truck at the time. Just bought my first house with my wife, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna get a cool car. Looked on Facebook Marketplace, saw this one looked pretty good shape. Met the guy to buy it, and it was kind of rough. It was like there was an oil leak on the back of the head, or it was really just valve cover leak, which is pretty easy to do on an RB. But it was slammed to the ground, and it was cambered out like crazy. Nice. And every time you turned the wheels hit the fenders, and it would like push the fenders out, and I could see it was rusting on the edge. I was like, this thing is going to need a little bit of body work or something, which is why I went wide body. So I ended up just cutting those fenders.
True.
I got proper coilovers because he had it slammed on just eBay coilovers with no preload. The springs were just loose. So I was like, all right. This guy just kind of he was like a stance kid or whatever, and he just threw it on there. I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. You live and you learn.
You live and you learn. And it just slowly developed from there of like, I want to do this. This is kind of cool. I want to do that and that. And a lot of like turning bolts and kind of seeing what I wanted to do with it before it developed into like, all right, I kind of know what I'm doing now. I'm drifting a little bit. I need more angle. I need more grip in the rear. And then I took it to Durza Auto. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're in Tavares. His name's Derek. And I took it to him and was like, hey, I'm going Haltech. I want to make this thing scream. I want a wastegate coming out the hood so it, pops flames or whatever. But I want it reliable at the same time. So I got it tuned. It makes like 320 horsepower to the wheel with all the power mods that were on there. And that thing, it screams. Everybody loves the sound of it. Yeah. It sounds like a TIE fighter going by when I'm sitting on limiter. Because the RBs love limiter. It's like if I'm not on limiter, the car's not happy. So I kind of just modulate with the brake and just live on limiter. And at this point, with a really nice paint job that's on there, I'm like, I'm going to just drive this car in B-class and just do my runs and not bang doors with anyone because it's not cheap to fix.
When it got really nice, that's when you decided to get the Corvette?
Yeah, as soon as the paint was done on that, I actually had a few cars in between there.
Yeah.
I had a G that I drove for a while, a 4-door G, and it was LS swapped.
Nice.
And that was I learned a lot with that car, with big body swinging.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the easiest car to drive, and that was on stock angle too.
Okay.
I learned how to run the bro line with that car. I was on the outside, limiting my angle, but trying to just stay wide. Not a whole lot of grip. Just a lot of people who just like wanted to chase me in that car, and I was like, I just got better and better at lead lines.
Nice.
So that's kind of like a strong suit of mine, is being able to throw down like a solid lead line.
Yeah. What else then? We got the C6, the R32. We had the G. What else? What else have you?
I actually had an R34 that I drifted.
What?
Yeah. I'll send you some pictures, but I only took it out for one drift day. But I bought that car right before COVID.
Okay.
And then I sold it throughout COVID because the prices went up a lot. They almost doubled in price, and now they're even going higher. Yeah. So I bought it and did some stuff to it, drifted it, kept it pretty basic. But I loved it. I missed that car so much. Yeah. It was a beautiful car.
You ended up selling it then?
Yeah, I did. It's still out there. I know the guy I sold it to, but kind of sad that I don't have it anymore because it's such a beautiful car. I love the Skylines. R34 is my favorite. R32 is my next favorite. Not a fan of the R33s for some reason.
Yeah, they've grown on me, to be honest with you.
They look like Malibus.
Yeah.
The taillights. It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, some would even say the R34 taillights look like Malibus. Because some Malibus have that, like, covering.
Yeah, where it's, like, bigger on the outside. I don't know what it is, man. The R34 is just the front end for me. Yeah. The front end of the R34s look awesome.
Yeah. It's edgy. It's a little boxier, for sure, than the R33.
I've been seeing a lot of R32s with R34 clips installed on the front.
Okay.
And that's pretty cool. I kind of like that, too.
I could see that. See that working. Just anything. I could imagine, too, like, if you wreck something, then getting those parts, you might find a deal on an R34 front end as opposed to, whatever. Just people sell all sorts of things. So you might end up doing that as a need as opposed to like wanting to do it. I talked to a guy that has a JDM S14 and he wrecked the front end and he ended up getting a deal on some S15 stuff and that's his front end now.
Yeah, I hear that's not a bad swap to do, actually. It's probably just as much work to do that than it is to put a new S14 front end on.
Yeah, with the fenders, he had to make some little extender brackets from the original S14 brackets that mount to the chassis. But besides that, it looked like it fit. Looked good. Yeah. So, working on cars, you have your company, your business, Grindle Garage.
Yep.
Is that you have an actual location garage?
I work out of my house. I actually have a lift in my house.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, we built this house from the ground up. It took us 2 years to build this house. And it essentially, I took the normal garage and then I added a third bay and made it 12-foot ceiling and put a lift in there, like a normal size shop lift.
That's awesome, man.
I don't have a lot of like working space around the lift, but I have all my, shop tools and everything I managed to squeeze in there. And I can throw the Corvette on there, can throw customer cars on there, and be able to install everything by myself, but also just, basically walk out of my house into my garage and not have to have like a set work schedule or anything like that and just work on things from there.
That's so awesome.
It's awesome. It's the dream. It really is.
Is it, so your customer cars, they're mainly doing normal routine stuff, or is it performance, or how's that?
So we're kind of focusing on not necessarily drifting, but aftermarket stuff. There's not a lot of shops that you can go to that are willing to touch the aftermarket scene, especially with drifting, because angle kits, how do you align that if you're a normal shop? You know what I mean? You have to specifically ask them, like, hey, I want this much camber, this much toe, caster, set that, because that's all adjustable.
A regular shop I went to,
they won't touch it.
I wanted toe out. They're like, you can't do this.
Yeah, there's only 2 shops I trust to do an alignment for a drift car around here. And even then, they won't install the parts or adjust anything other than just the adjustable arms. So being able to go to a place that's like installing a kit properly, or any aftermarket, fuel pumps and AN lines and stuff like that, no one wants to touch that. So kind of specializing in aftermarket stuff, getting performance stuff going to the track. Obviously, there's a waiver you got to sign. This is off-road use only. I'm not going to drive it on the road. It's for the track.
Yeah.
But, it's Florida.
Yeah. We
don't have inspections or nothing like that. So
headlights and windshield.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what's up. So the business is going well.
I just launched it like 3 days ago.
Oh wow!
And I made a whole new website. I actually put merch on the website. So
awesome.
I'm trying to like make some new shirts and stuff like that
brand
kind
it.
of represent the brand. And I'll be able to like give them out at events and such so that people are kind of wearing it. I'm going to put my logos on, like on my trailer and such to kind of get the word out there.
For sure.
But yeah, that's, you know, it's not my full-time gig. I've got other stuff I've got to do, but I spend a lot of time in my garage anyways. So I figured, you know, when people need help, they can come get it from me.
That's awesome. Are you're not do you plan on like selling parts for performance stuff? Or?
No, unless I get like a big shop in the back of my property where I've got like maybe some machining tools or CNCing or anything like that. But I don't think I will specialize in any certain parts for the motors or anything like that. Just because I'm all over the place between JDM and American and stuff like that. So I'm working on an IS300 right now. Okay. Just, you know, having some misfiring issues, but also needs parts installed at the same time. So it's kind of a mixed match in that regard of what I'm doing.
True. That's what's up, though. I mean, if you enjoy what you do, you know, that's so. Yeah. You said you spend enough time in your garage anyway. So.
I do. Yeah, and it's nice to be able to be in my garage and then just kind of take a break in my house and like my family's right there, as opposed to being gone for 8 to 10 hours a day and then come home. And
the shop 20 minutes away, and then
exactly.
Yeah, every little bit counts. So that's what's up.
Definitely.
So you compete here and there, right?
I do. That's kind of a newer thing this year. Is doing competitions, with the exception of the OSW King of OSW events that they do at Black Friday and Spring Break Bash. That I've done for the past few years. Yeah. But this year's the first time I've been doing U.S. Drift Circuit Pro-Am. Mm-hmm. And I actually also started doing the Catch My Drift Clean Culture competitions, which is more north. Yeah. I did one event at Linear Raceway in Georgia. And that was a good time. That was a really fun track. And I got top 16, something like that. And the guy that ended up beating me barely, he ended up getting second for the whole thing. So I felt pretty good about that. Yeah. You know, if you're going to lose, you want to lose to the guy who podiumed.
For sure. That's awesome. So U.S. Drift Circuit, if you do win the season, then they give you a Pro-Am or a Pro Spec, or how does that work?
So they're not like a direct Pro-Am event. It's because it is U.S. Drift Circuit, but Pro-Am, that's their direction. What they do is they petition for you to have your Pro Spec license. Got it. So you have to not only win points, but then they petition you, and FD has to look at it and say, okay, you know, we agree this guy should run Pro Spec. Okay.
I thought
it's not a guaranteed ticket.
True. Yeah. Okay.
Common misconception just with the U.S. Drift Circuit event because they're not directly affiliated with FD. But as long as you have the right specs for your car, you qualify to get into Pro Spec, chances are that it's going to be fine.
Are there other competitions that do that are tied in with FD? And
there's a couple that are directly, I don't want to say funded, but sponsored from FD. I think East 10, which is up in Atlanta, or Linear Raceway, that same racetrack. I think they have a direct Pro-Am competition where you're just guaranteed that spot if you win.
That's what's up. I had no idea how that stuff works, so I'm not there yet.
It changes every year.
Yeah.
It's complicated. The rules change every year. I think this is the first year that U.S. Drift Circuit doesn't have like a strict tire limit because if you go into Pro Spec, you're stuck with a 255 GT radial. Right. You know, so I think the previous years they had limited that to a 255 tire for the competition, and now it's unlimited. Now you can just run whatever tire you want.
What do you run?
I switched between a 265 and a 285
on the vet.
Yeah, because that Catch My Drift Clean Culture competition, they require a 265. And there's a lot of big names there. Yeah. Nick Novak was there. Jones Racing. Asoli was there. I mean, a lot of big hitters were there,
Dang, competing with the pros, man.
I
feel like that gets you better, though.
For sure. I definitely learn a lot. Really every time I go out with that crowd of people, I learn a lot about my driving versus their driving. I mean, it's a smoke show out there. They're just out there roasting tires. I'm like, damn.
That's what's up. So out of all the tracks you've been to, what do you think is your favorite personally?
Dude, the Drift Mansion was awesome.
Yeah.
If we can go back to the Drift Mansion, that track, it was huge and it's very fast. It is a lot faster than it looks.
Yeah.
I actually killed my third gear at that event.
Oh, wow.
It was gone. So the last day I ran in second gear, chasing Brandon McDowell, which Brandon McDowell is a really fast driver. I think it's a rocket ship. And second gear, I couldn't even stay up on the bank. I was just like falling off of it, just falling down there. So, having a third gear track that you're going to, it's just, it changes everything.
Around the house.
Yeah, around a house.
Because I feel like it wouldn't be third gear since it is around a house.
Yeah, but it's a big house.
Yeah.
It's literally a mansion. It's 3 stories.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And the tennis court and pool in the back. Yeah, I guess it is.
It's huge.
It would be big to go around.
And they have a warehouse, which was really fun. They had. Have you driven a crazy cart before?
I've not. No,
I hadn't either.
Yeah.
So first time driving a crazy cart. They've got like 10 of them. A couple of them are like taxi garage carts that are like faster than normal.
Right.
And they just have this huge track set up just for crazy carts with like plastic barriers
in the warehouse.
In the warehouse
with
cones. That was a lot of fun. So every night we were doing crazy carts, having fun through there. They gave away prizes and stuff. Nice. They had a bar there and an arcade there. Just a ton of things you can do. And we didn't even do it all. They had like paintball, ATVs, like just a bunch of land to do things on. They had like a big bonfire with like a little pit bike track. Right. And we didn't even do all that.
I'm sure not everyone that goes there just goes for drifting. So.
No, I'd imagine people who rent it for the actual Airbnb, which that's the Little Talladega side of it. They use the go-karts instead of drifting on the track. They just go-kart around the house, which that would be fun too.
Yeah, for sure. So everyone that went stayed there at the house?
No, actually, I didn't stay at the house. So you could like go in the house and go swim in the pool and stuff when the track is not hot. But I stayed at a hotel just because I was like last minute. The house was already full. True. I think the house holds like 20 people or something like that with the beds stacked in there.
Word. Yeah. Dang. Well, that's what's up, man. I gotta make it out one year, but I'm still figuring out tracks in Florida this year, and then I wanted to venture out probably to Georgia, maybe Mid-Pond next year, and little by little, I still need to work on getting my own trailer because I feel like that's what'll let me go out of state. Yeah. I don't want to rent trailers.
That's
and
a
go
game
out of
changer
state.
For sure, and an enclosed trailer as opposed to open.
Yeah, you would suggest like saving even more for an enclosed?
I had an open trailer, which I used for my business before to pick people up.
Yeah.
But going across state lines with that and then staying at a hotel or something like that, now your car's out in the open, all your tires are stacked out in the open. If you have tools, you got to put them in, stuff them in your vehicle as opposed to in your trailer. So having the enclosed really, it hides what you're towing, first of all. Yeah. It locks everything up, and it just kind of makes you inconspicuous so people aren't, you could be a lawn service, people don't care.
Yeah, you feel a little better driving around.
Much better, much safer that way.
That's what's
Plus
up.
weather.
Yeah.
And rain.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I ask everyone being with Drip and Drift, dreaming with Drip and Drift, what do you think are a couple of your dreams, goals, the end game for all of this stuff?
I think the goal for everyone is to make it to FD.
Yeah.
So that would be awesome. But I think if I did make it that far, it would become my full-time job, obviously. Yeah. But I'd have to give up on a lot of things or hire people to do other things for me that I have obligations to because those guys are traveling all the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I have a family at home. So I would miss out on a lot of time with that, but I would still love to do it, at least for a few seasons to see. Pro spec would be awesome. Yeah. I would be happy to just be in pro spec, which is, that's the start of the dream right there.
I think that is a achievable goal for a lot of people too. It's like...
It's a lot of money, though.
Yes.
And a lot of time. And having a dedicated team that you trust is probably the hardest part of pro spec, aside from building a car that is qualified to be there. Yeah. And if you make it from pro spec and you advance on, even from pro am to pro spec, your qualifications for your vehicle are completely different.
Really?
So it's like, I don't want to say building a new car every time you advance, but you've got to change a lot every time you move.
I thought pro spec meant like the spec of the cars were the same, but no.
In some certain things, there's certain requirements, mostly being the tire limitations. Okay. So that 255 tire limitation. Yeah. But think about it. If you have a 255 tire limitation and you absolutely kill it and you podium, you get first place in pro spec, now you're qualified, you get an FD license to be an FD. Those guys are running 295s or 315s. Yeah. That's a big jump in tire. Yeah. That's a whole different style of driving. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that is not the same car. You need more power. You need to change your, you're probably running on a 255. You've probably put all the grip you can mechanically into that car.
True.
Because you're not able to upsize the tire. Right. And you need that advantage over your competition.
True.
And if you're podium, you probably found a way to do that. Yeah. Well, now you're running a 295 and it's too much. Now you got to back off in other ways.
Yeah. Wow. I never even thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I love having people on and talking, man.
I dove really deep into the, like, how do I get more grip out of this car?
Yeah.
And the Corvette's really fast. There's a lot of ways that I had to, like, sit here and dial it in, hit and miss, trial and error, different alignment specs, different tires, different settings. And there's, Chelsea DeNofa has his classes on that. He did one at UCF, which is right up the street from here. I went to that one.
True.
And I had 4 pages of just notes.
Yeah.
Of
that's
just
awesome.
like, this is
It was worth it.
anti-squat and setting your coils and getting mechanical grip out of a E36 chassis with trailing arms versus a G with buckets and doing true coils on that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so many different things that go into it depending on your car.
Yeah, interesting. That's pretty cool. I was curious about, I saw that class and I was doing something that day, so I couldn't make it, but I didn't know anybody that went, so that's cool.
It was informative.
Yeah.
Very informative. And it was open questions throughout the whole thing. So
that's
there was a
awesome.
lot of people who brought things,
Yeah.
good points that.
It was a good amount of people too?
Oh, yeah. I think it was a limited class, but there's probably like 40 people there.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good amount.
But it was definitely a good class.
Awesome, man. Well, is there any plugs you want to put in? Anything people shout out before we close it?
Yeah, let's talk about the...
What do you want?
I don't know.
Whatever, man.
Let's talk about how Dustin Motors is getting called out.
Uh-oh.
Just kidding. No, I love Dustin. No, I just want to talk about the sponsors who got me to Drift Mansion, honestly, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
I'm wearing my Kansai shirt today.
Kansai.
They sponsored me this year, and I just kind of want to show my appreciation to them and to Tire Stacks. I mean, I haven't seen you since FD Orlando.
Yep.
You were helping out with the tires at Tire Stacks.
Tire Stacks as well.
Dude, Frank is an awesome guy.
He is,
man. He's a really cool guy. Family man. Being able to do what he does with FD and changing tires and finding guys to help do that, it's a lot of work. And I appreciate him also funding the little guys like ourselves who just are grassroots drifters. And he's willing to do something for us, and he spends the time himself emailing us, calling us. Yeah. Just like he's doing big FD guys. Like he doesn't need to do any of that.
When I made the decals, the new decals that I have on the whip, Tire Stack ones, I sent it to him. It was late Friday night. I sent it to him, and Saturday when I woke up, he had already emailed me back saying he loved them and like they worked perfect. And
good to go. Yeah,
I was like that. Like,
he sent me a couple variations, and I was like, I'm good with black and white. It matches everything else.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's what's up. So Tire Stacks, Kansai, what else?
I've got Silvers, and that's actually a local guy. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, no.
Silvers is a local guy. I don't know if he's a family guy or anything like that, but he emailed me back right away when I applied for my application. Yeah. Gave me a really good sponsorship.
Awesome.
Got everything out right away. I think he's in like Jacksonville or Tampa or something like that. So he's a local business. Pretty cool. I've always been a BC racing guy.
Yeah, and they're local too.
They're local too, but they're worldwide as well.
Yeah.
But their wheel shop is right there in Oviedo. Yeah. But yeah, I still love my BC. I mean, I run BCs on my truck.
Yeah.
For wheels, but these Silvers that I got they're bulky, they're heavy. Yeah. I heard BCs, they're stepping up their game with the Corvettes. Actually, they're supposed to be trying to beat everyone else and make some heftier stuff. So
we'll see.
I just like the Silvers because they're flipped upside down.
Okay.
So I can run a sway bar.
Oh.
Which factory sway bar on a FDF kit with coils is usually something you can't do.
True. Something else I didn't know.
Yeah.
True. And Grip Royal as well?
Grip Royal, yeah. I mean, it's a small sponsorship, but really cool guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they threw on the whole event for Drift Mansion. So
right.
I think they want to do it again. So that would be cool. I'd like to get a whole trip up there, but I think when you try and do like a day of drifting, it's like a whole thing. Like if you're going to drift there with a bunch of people, you need insurance and all that sort of thing. So yeah.
I really want to thank Drewski here for coming out and talking with us, man. I appreciate it, dude.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
It's a good time.
Yeah, man. Come by anytime you want, man.
Sounds good. We'll do it again.
Well, we'll catch you guys next time. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed. We'll see you later.